Change News.
This is the Voice of Change Radio News. I'm Amanda Kumalo. A quick look at stories making the headlines. President mourns 6 Zanu PF supporters. In business news, $1 billion floating solar farm proposed. In news beyond our borders, South Africa police search for rapist they thought was dead. In sports, ZIFA present roadmap to SRC. For these and other stories in detail, President Mnangagwa yesterday sent his condolences to families of 6 Zanu PF supporters who died in a horrific accident along the Murambinda-Beshnaf Bridge Road on Saturday as they were going to partake in primary elections. The accident occurred when an Isuzu lorry with 40 passengers was involved in a head-on collision with a Nissan diesel truck. It left 17 others with serious injuries. In a statement yesterday, President Mnangagwa expressed his deepest sorrow and prayed for the speedy recovery of the injured. He further implored motorists to exercise caution as the government continues to repair roads damaged by the heavy rains received this season. He also added that government was working round the clock to rehabilitate the road network, adding that the Murambinda-Beshnaf Bridge Road, which has remained outstanding for too long, was enlisted for rehabilitation. Zanu PF is looking into concerns raised by some candidates in some constituencies in the primary elections that were held over the weekend. The Revolutionary Party's National Political Commissar, Comrade Mike Bima, said. He said a special ad hoc tribunal met yesterday to consider the complaints, some of which might affect the results. The Zanu PF primary elections attracted an overwhelming response in terms of voter turnout, forcing the party to extend the voting period in some areas to give all party members an opportunity to exercise their democratic rights. Yesterday, the ruling party released the second batch of the Zanu PF primary election results. The results are, however, still subject to confirmation by the Politburo. In business news, China Energy Engineering Group has tabled a proposal to build a 1,000 megawatt floating solar farm on Lake Kariba at an estimated cost of nearly $1 billion. Upon approval and implementation, the project will boost Zimbabwe's power generation capacity and help end prolonged load shedding cycles, which domestic and industrial consumers have been enduring in the past couple of months. According to an official report prepared by China Energy for the Zimbabwe Electricity Supply Authority ZESA and potential private equity funders, more than 1.8 million photovoltaic panels installed over 146 modular floating units will be used for the project on Lake Kariba if it goes ahead. Zimbabwe has been making huge strides in reducing load shedding through various power projects across the country, which are expected to add power to the national grid. A look at what is happening beyond our borders and to our neighboring South Africa. South African police announced on Monday that they were looking for a fugitive serial killer and rapist whom they thought had been dead since May 2022, and the discovery of a charred corpse in his prison cell in Bloemfontein, where he was serving his sentence. DNA analysis determined that the victim was not Thabo Bester, South African police revealed over the weekend. Nicknamed the Facebook rapist for luring his victims through the social network, at least one of them had been killed. Thabo Bester was sentenced in 2012 to life in prison. On Sunday, the police revealed that according to the autopsy, the victim found in his cell had succumbed to a violent blow to the head before his body was set on fire. A new murder investigation has been opened. The case has caused a stir in South Africa, where women's rights associations regularly criticize the government for its inability to curb violence against women. And finally, in sports, ZIFA have taken giant steps towards fulfilling the requirements of the Sport and Recreation Commission, with the football body presenting their roadmap to the country's sport regulatory body. It has emerged that the ZIFA Executive Committee, led by Acting President Gift Banda, met with the Sports Commission's body last Friday, where the association's boss presented the roadmap. That brings us to the end of this bulletin.
Voice of Change News.